Good morning. This is Anne from La Belladonna Vintage Creations, and I'm here to show you the finished product of my Doily book, Doily applique lace book that I've been working on. This is something that I've been wanting to do, and I'm just going to give you a little recap of what I've been doing with it. I originally did the front and the back cover. That was something that I had shown on Facebook, the pictures of that. And then a couple of weeks ago, I decided to gather everything that I had together and bring it out to my cottage in Wisconsin to work on it. What I wanted to do out there was to kind of place things inside in the pages the way I wanted them to look, get an idea of how I wanted everything to flow in this book, and then just pin them in place until I come back and, you know, take a look at it again and go from there to put it down permanently. So I did the first, couple of weeks ago, I did a video showing the first part of the book, and I had every good intentions of doing the second part. And yeah, I did this yesterday, made a video of the second half of this. And as I reviewed it, found that some of the really good stuff was out of frame. And I know this is lessons I have to learn in doing these videos. Just bear with me. So I thought what I'm going to do today is just explain to you how my process was in beginning this and just take you through page by page. So what I did was I used the shipping envelopes from any shipping envelope you can use. I used mine from Amazon. I had a lot of them. I cut them down to the size that I wanted. They were open wide. And then what I did was I took, as you could see, it's like a cotton that I put over that on each side, and then I sewed it down. So what I did then was to take doilies, pieces of tablecloth, different gorgeous things that I either bought or I thrifted. This is all that I decided I wanted to use. I go to a lot of estate sales. I like to pick up stuff there. So anyway, that's how I put things together, and I made a number of pages, and we will go through those. I use a lot of the appliques and laces. The majority of them I buy from Crafty Me Shop, and they're so beautiful, and I loved everything about them. I was able to cut the appliques apart, be able to use them in various ways, and I carried some of those appliques throughout. So in the front cover, this was from a postcard that I had bought from Crafty Me Shop, and I've used it many times. It's just lovely. I just printed it over a few times and I've done it. There's some of this applique cut, then I put some pearls in between because I love using just pearl strands everywhere. And so I had backed this with a doily, and my purpose of doing that was to kind of make everything just kind of flow down. I wanted it to overlap. So there we have that. And then over here is the inside of the cover, and it's more simple. I didn't do a whole lot to this. I wanted to just look at its beauty, and I used pieces of the appliques and so on throughout. This was a doily that I just loved it. It's all hand, it looks like it's just all handmade. The most beautiful thing. And again, I bought that from Crafty Me. And what I did was I knew it was coming. I just wanted it so bad to just be tucked in here. I think that's just so beautiful. And this was a paper. This is paper. It's kind of like a doily on the other side of it if you look at it. But it is silver and a little bit of gold in there. I got a lot of these from an estate sale, so I decided to use it and use just a pretty picture within it. On the bottom here, I think this was from, I want to say it was from Hobby Lobby when they had some clearances. I bought a lot of it. So I used it as a pocket. So there you have that. So there we go on that page. So pretty. I just stuck a little tag in there. That's all, with some little dangle here. Like I said, I wanted to bring the pearls into a lot of it. Now the next page here, I used a real pretty sequined, and it's almost like a rose gold. I just fell in love with this, and I thought I'd like to just use that around here. The frame that I used was from clearance at Hobby Lobby, and I think it's a Tim Holtz. There was a package of them, and I used a few of them in this book. So using a little trim, using some doily, using some appliques, using a little trim to cover some of my stitching. This here is right over here is just a piece of fabric, heavier fabric, ivory, that I stamped on. It says Adore, and she is just stunning. And this, again, I try to find clearance things when I go to Hobby Lobby. A lot of times I get them for $1, $1.20, when they're normally $6. So you have to always watch for those kind of sales. I always keep my eyes out. If I see something I like, I buy it right away. So I know I'll eventually use it. And this is this stunning, I think it might have been maybe a table runner or something. It's just so beautiful. So anyway, that's what I used a lot of. It's very gorgeous. And then this was just a satin bag that I decorated with a beautiful applique from Crafty Me. And this is a little dangle that I made. We're gonna have to do that someday together. We'll work on that. I love making those. They're very simple. I get a lot of the beads when they're on sale at Michael's. Hobby Lobby has them on sale sometimes too. I will get them there. In here, I just put something that I had shown before. I didn't want to put it in the book permanently because I had something in the back. So I haven't decided if I want to just cover that and put this in there permanently. It might be pretty there too. I am deciding. So that's that page. And it's all beautiful. I mean, it's got the most beautiful sparkle to it. I used a little bit of, I had made some wax seals, so I used the round one for there. I thought it looked perfect there. Now, on the next page, I used a very pretty thin fabric. It's got the gentle little rosebuds in there. I just love it. I had this picture. I did a little bit of distressing around it. I used vintage photo because it just softened that white part that was on that paper. And I put a little bit of a butterfly in there. And I might have gotten this either at Hobby Lobby, maybe, or I might have gotten it at even the dollar store. I'm not sure. Now, on this side here, what I did was I had, and as I said, as all of them, I've tried to cover all that page with something beautiful and very open weaved and hanging down is what I wanted to do. Now, this is a big applique that I have. I put half of it on this side, and as you see when I turn it around, you'll see that I continued that very large applique. Over here, I put a little bit of netting with a doily, another portion of an applique, and a stamped piece of muslin that I did myself. And I stamped it in a burgundy color. So that is that. On this next page, oops. Okay, over here, now I continued that applique down here and over into the next page. It is just gorgeous. And it has that soft colors that I'm going for in this book. I wanted the ivories, I wanted the soft pinks, the soft mauve, anything like that. And I wanted a lot of glisten. I wanted it to be very glistening and very blingy. So I did that. Here I just stuck a little bit of a small tag in there. I'm going to be making more, but I just wanted to show you. This was a very wide piece of ribbon that I cut and made a pocket with. I put a little key on there and there. On this side, I found these beautiful, beautiful pictures. They were from one of the, I bought them digital on Etsy. I do not remember who they belong to. I apologize. I had printed out a lot of them, and they were within each other, and I did not mark them, so I apologize, but they are very beautiful. I put around doily behind. I put some gauze in there, and I again distressed around, and then I used some appliques, some pieces around there. The same. This is from the same applique, and I used a part of that on the top of it. Again, this is something that I had gotten over on clearance at Hobby Lobby. So again, beautiful. I love the way this has turned out. On this page, I have it was turned this way. I bought it at an estate sale. It had pockets going sideways so that I guess you can hang, and it had a little hanger that I think you could hang it in your bathroom, and you can put some little towels in there. But I decided to use it as pockets going the sideways. So what I did was I cut it in half, and I was able to get, if you can see this, there's two pockets. So I've got one there, one here. I used a beautiful applique on the top, again going with the same appliques that I did on the front cover. And this is a small doily, and I put there is room here. I just glued it in this circular so that there's room here that I could put something if I wanted to. These are stick pins that I've made, and very simple. We'll go and do that one of these days. We'll work on those. And then over here, I continued another bit of that same applique to this side to kind of make everything kind of cohesive. And this is a stamped piece of fabric that I did myself. And over here is another framed picture. I used the frame again from that Tim Holtz group of frames that I bought on clearance. And this is so pretty. I love that look. I think it's just came out gorgeous. Now I still have to fill this, so you know I'm still going to be making some nice things. Haven't done that yet, but things one step at a time. So on this page now, again with a pretty picture, I wanted to do that. So now we have this gorgeous picture. I've got some doily, have a little bit of trim, some appliques, some stamped fabric, and again, distressed a little around that picture. Now, I may do something else, I don't know. We're going to see if I can add to that. Now, over here, this was white, and what I did to it is I just coffee dyed it. And what it did, when I coffee dyed it, this was came out beautifully, and then this kind of was toned down, the white was toned down on it, and the edges just stood out beautifully. So I have two tuck spots here that I love. It's the corner spots, and these are little things that I have made, just little miscellaneous things that I had on my desk. I thought I would just put in there just to show. This is another one that I made. I'm just going to set that in there to show you that I can put that in. So this is where I was on this part of it. And as we turn this over, I used a very large sequined applique on this side. I thought that would be beautiful to frame her face. And I used, I put a bow in there and kind of scrunched it down to kind of frame it. I used a little more of that one applique. I actually used two like really super big pink appliques, and that's what I used throughout. I used some of it here. This is some French wording that I had stamped onto a piece of muslin, and I just glued it all together like so. I put a little bit of, I put a ball pin with some of this eyelash a trim and a little heart. And that's what I've got on that part of it. It's very glistening and beautiful. And over on this side, this is part of an applique, and I thought, you know what, it's sticking a little bit, here we go. It was part of an applique, and it was round, and I thought, what a great way to incorporate a pair of gloves in there. And I may do something more with those gloves. I may put some pearls in there yet. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. Again, this is from that same applique, just to give it a little bit of a dangle. Some more of the stick pins that I've made. And I love, I always worked with bridal gowns. I always, if I see something beautiful, I'll purchase them. I wash them, put them away, and then eventually I will go to them and break them all down, which I mean, take all of the appliques off, cut down all of the fabric in it and everything, and then I put those in bags separately so that when I need something, I go right to it. I did a lot of bridal headpieces over the years, and I used vintage gowns to get those beautiful appliques off of them. So also in doing that, I would take off the fabric covered buttons, and that's what I used underneath here. I thought that was just so pretty to utilize that, and then one over here on that glove. So now on this page, we're nearing the end here. What we have here is, again, another pretty picture. And I wanted to put a little bit different. I put the picture on some gauze and then on some music sheet. So that gives it a little bit different type of dimension. Again, a little part of an applique, some more of that same trim that I was using, that applique there. And the end here has, it was a very large oval, and I cut it down to use this like a medallion or cameo type of thing in the middle. I wanted to use that. It fit perfectly on the page. I thought that would be so beautiful to use. And this was the trim that went around it. So I utilized that trim also. And on the very last page here, I have another very beautiful applique. This is just stunning. And as I said, most of it, in fact, all of the appliques pretty much that I used in this book came from Crafty Me Shop. So I just want you to see how gorgeous her products are. And I used this, put this beautiful little picture in there, and that was the end of my, you know, the back of my book. So I hope you enjoyed looking through this. It is very big. It is very full. I love it. I just had so much fun making this. This was supposed to be for my birthday, something fun to do, and I am now finished pretty much with what I'm going to do with it. I may fill it with a few more things, of course. There's some need. I do have the need to put some tags and stuff in there, which I will do at my leisure, but at least I finished the bulk of it. So thank you for coming to see this. I hope you enjoy it. I hope everybody is doing well out there. I hope that you had a chance to do some crafting. And I hope that I maybe inspired you to use up those shipping bags and make, you know, because absolutely, they're hidden, but they give you a really substantial page to work on. And when you, I mean, this is nice and heavy. This really is. And it measures 9.5 by 12, and I just love it. So, again, thank you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.